Welcome back to my channel for this week's Human Design Transit Report. Today is Monday, June 13th, and we are currently in the transit that I talked about last week. So if you want to find out what's going on today, go and watch last week's transit report. But the upcoming transit starts tomorrow. So that's what we're going to talk about. And that transit is going to carry us all the way through Sunday. So by the time we come back next Monday, we'll be in a new transit again. But this whole week will be in what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, let's get into it. You'll see here that the nodes of the moon are still in the 4323, which are connecting the Ajna center to the throat. And we've had this for a while. We're going to have it for another while longer. And the two gates that we have highlighted today are also on the Ajna center and on the throat. So I thought I would talk a little bit about those two centers and this relationship and how that might be influencing all of us. The Ajna is not the same as the third eye that we know from the chakra system. Okay, so it's different. In human design, it's much more of the thinking center. It's a place for analysis and data storage and kind of thinking through things. Okay, it's not completely that way because the knowing circuit and also the sensing circuit run through the Ajna as well as the logic circuit. Even so, it's the place that has a lot of thinking going on. And when this center is defined, we tend to find that we have kind of a busy mind, lots of things going on in there. And also a defined Ajna tends to get us to be kind of single focused. It helps us to lock into our own point of view, which can be very helpful if you have felt kind of confused or overwhelmed or scattered in terms of what your point of view is. But it can also lead you to having a hard time being able to access the point of view of other people. I know when I have counseled clients who have a defined Ajna, one of the things I say to them is, you're going to have to work a little harder than the people who have an open Ajna to be able to empathize with other people, to be able to take in their point of view. You can totally do it, but it's not going to necessarily be feel natural to you. Okay. But you can develop that capacity just like we can develop all kinds of different capacities when we choose to do that. So in this configuration that we've had for, a few months and we're going to have for at least another month, we've got a defined Ajna and a defined throat, but we've got an open head. Now, most people have an open head. It's at least 7 out of 8 people, because if you take a look at this head center, you'll see there is only 3 gates on there, only 3 channels, so it doesn't have a lot of opportunity to get defined, really. So most of us have an open head. Now, the head, like the root, is a pressure center. What does that mean? It means that we have energy that is coming down from the neutrino stream or cosmic energy that's putting pressure coming in through this top part of our energy field. Okay. And so what happens is that we tend to have a pressure to want to express our ideas. And most people have this, which is part of the reason that a lot of people just try to express themselves, even if it's not the right time or the right place or whatever. And one of the things that human design really teaches us is that we will do best in our lives when we express ourselves at the right time with the right people, and when people are receptive to what it is that we have to say. Well, here with this pressure coming into this defined Ajna, if you look here, you'll see that the 17 and the 43 and the 11 are all defined. Those are all the 3 gates that are coming off of the Ajna into the throat. And only that 4323 has a complete channel. So that means that it's going to be easiest for the energy that's coming in to go down through that particular channel, right? If that makes sense. And this week we have the 11 being lit up by the earth. And the 11 is the gate of ideas in traditional human design and the conceptualist in quantum human design. any way you slice it, this gate has a lot of ideas, a lot of ideas, whether you want to think of it as the ability to conceptualize things or bringing in through superconsciousness through that 6447, which is the beginning of the sensing circuit and the place that the energy is going to come in through that right brain is going to cross over and then come down through this 11 over here. Okay, so it's in the sensing circuit, and that means that it's creative, it's right-brained, it's expansive, it is unboundaried, it is a part of how we connect to the all that is, and it's embodied and it's experiential. So it's a little bit of a paradox that this is the 11 that has a lot of different ideas. Although it's a paradox, we can utilize it to our advantage by being able to receive the ideas and the concepts that are coming in through that gate 11, but then to see how does that feel in the body and how creative are they, how expansive are they, how do they help us to experience our life differently, how does it feel in our body when we receive those concepts or those ideas and we start to experience them through our physical form. One of the things that can happen with the defined gate 11 is that you can start having a really busy mind. If you find yourself overwhelmed with ideas, whether you have this defined in your chart or whether it's just during this transit, one of the things you can do is just be writing down your ideas. You can be writing them down. So it's kind of like a brain dump, right? So that you can clear out your mind and you don't have so many ideas that are just bouncing around in there. And just know that not all of those ideas are going to be things that you're going to want to take action on. Some of them are going to be for you. Some of them are going to be for other people. Some of them are going to be for you later. Some of them are for no one. Some of them might be for people 5 years or 10 years from now. So you don't want to dishonor them by just simply rejecting them. But you also want to be aware that you probably have, an abundance, an overflowing abundance of these ideas, and you'll have plenty to share with other people. The main point here is to be able to kind of clear out your mind if you start to feel like you've got too much activity going on in there. And what you might find, because we've got this 4323 defined, is that the things that you find you most want to speak about are ideas that are really breakthrough ideas, because the 4323 is in the knowing circuit. And so it is out of the box, leading edge ideas, concepts, ways of being, ways of perceiving the world. People who have this defined in their chart tend to just think really different than other people. And so you might find that you have a preference for those kinds of ideas that are coming through that 11. My recommendation here is we want to ground ourselves in the abundance and have gratitude for the abundance of possibilities that are going to be coming in through that sensing circuit into the 11. And to be able to be sorting through them, to be honoring them, acknowledging them, and know that probably some of those ideas are floating around and other people are receiving them too. So it's not necessarily your responsibility to take all of them and run with them, but rather to sort through them and to even use that knowing circuit, that kind of deep sense of knowing of what's right and what's true for you, to sort through the ideas so that you can pull a few out that feel like the ones that you want to be acting on, maybe soon, maybe this year, however that works out for you. In addition to that 4323 in the knowing circuit, we have 4 other planets lighting up the knowing circuit. And one of them is the gate 12, which is on the throat, which is what the sun is lighting up right now. So the 12 in traditional human design is known as caution, and in quantum human design is known as the channel. So this is the energy for being able to give voice to the breakthrough leading edge ideas that you receive from superconsciousness that come in through the knowing circuit and then want to be expressed through the throat. So let's talk about the throat center for a second. So the throat center, it's not a motor, okay? So it doesn't have that kind of power, but what it does have is this ability to express and to activate and theoretically to manifest or to create. And so everything on that throat center, all of the different gates are going to have that kind of expressive and activating kind of energy to them. And so the 23, the 4323, right? There are 23, that's in the knowing circuit. So that there's going to be some pressure coming in through that head to want to express, right? All of those different ideas that you're getting through that 11. But then you're also going to want to express through that 12, because the 12 really is a direct channel to superconsciousness. This is especially true on an open throat, but it's also true on a defined throat. So there's different ways of seeing how energy moves through the circuitry in the human design chart. I know a lot of times I talk about this energy coming down this way, splitting and going around and then coming back up. But the truth is that the energy moves around in these different circuits. There isn't just a one way that they go. Okay. It's not like, our veins and our arteries, and one of them comes out of the heart and the other one goes back in, and you should never mix the two, right? It's not like that. It's much more that it's free flowing. You might even think of it a little bit more like what happens with a river near the ocean, right? Is sometimes it goes this way and sometimes it goes that way, depending on what's happening with the tides. Okay. And so it's kind of like that with the energies that are coming in through the head or coming up through the root, right? Sometimes it's going this way and sometimes it's going that way. So there's kind of a ebb and a flow to how these energies move. It also, of course, depends on your particular circuitry and what is flowing in your chart and what's not flowing in your chart. So of course it gets complicated pretty fast. But the thing I want to emphasize here is that this 12 wants to express. Okay, the 12 wants to express. And what it wants to express, a lot of times are pretty, could be considered weird. That's why we got the genius freak gate, right, with the 43. And because of that, both with whatever's coming through that 43-20 through and coming out of the 12, and this is true with the 20 also, because the 20 is in the knowing circuit too. With all of them, you want to be very aware of when do you want to express. Like, what's the environment? What's the context? Who are the people that are there? Are they ripe? Are they ready? Are they eager for what it is that you want to share? Or are they distracted? Or are they not the people who would want to hear your out-of-the-box ideas? Or are other people busy and there's chaos going on? Or is nobody really listening? There's so many different possibilities for the environments in which we might want to express. And so pay attention to that, because when you do have the attention of other people, then they're going to take in and they're going to really receive what it is that you have to offer. And I'll just say, as a person with a lot of the knowing circuit, I like to do videos because I get to talk about what I want to talk about. My breakthrough ideas come through, and then people will come to them and watch them when it's right for them, if they want to hear what I have to say, and they can always click away if they don't, and the ones who are right for me will come. So for me, this is a really great medium. And you might think about, what is that like for you? What could be an environment where you could be expressing yourself? So you could shoot video, for example, or you could write, or you could create, you could do something that's more, two-dimensional art or even three-dimensional art. There's many, many different ways of expressing yourself. We think of the throat as words. And yes, it is the place where we express verbally, but it's actually, as an energy center, it's about expression in a bigger way as well. So the invitation for you, while the sun is lighting up the gate 12, is what are you receiving and what are you channeling? What are the ideas, the epiphanies, the possibilities that are coming to you through that knowing circuit that maybe you'll want to write down, maybe you'll want to draw, maybe you'll want to express with other people? Again, discerning what right timing is. But I want to emphasize that this is divine guidance that's coming to you, divine inspiration. This is a gift, a huge gift that is coming to you, and not to discard it. I talk to people all the time when I do readings for them, encouraging them to trust and believe in their intuition. I think it's one of the biggest conversations I have with people, because we have been pretty much trained into left brain rationality and logic, and not to believe in things unless we know where they came from, if there's some proof behind them, if there's some data that proves it, right? That kind of thing. But the truth is that we receive all kinds of information in ways that are not logical and not reasonable. And both the sun and the earth are lighting up circuits that are not the logic circuit. So you're going to be being able to tap into some possibilities and potentials that could be life-changing for you, for people in your lives. I think that we are really, really ripe to be receiving some epiphanies that can help us to learn how to live differently in this world, to face some of the challenges that we have, to be creatively creating strategies that can address those challenges, and ideally coming up with solutions. I'm happy to say, in doing the research for my book on feminine sovereignty, I have been getting exposed to all kinds of really cool things that people are doing around the world to address the challenges that we have with energy, with climate, with our ecosystems, and so on. There's lots of cool work that's being done out there. And I think that a lot of the inspiration for that, and even the direction for that, is coming through that knowing circuit and through the sensing circuit. It's coming from our connection to our embodied experience in relation to the earth. It's not just coming from that thinking mind, which is what the logic circuit is really about. So my invitation for this transit is for you to be carrying around a little book or a sketchbook where you can just be expressing yourself, so that you feel that you have an outlet to express yourself, to write down your ideas. You might be getting images, you might get feelings in your body. There's all kinds of possibilities. And just to be capturing some of that in a way of honoring it, knowing that you do not have to then immediately take action on things because it might not be the right time. But as we begin to really honor and invite, and yes, eventually do take action on our intuition, we will build that muscle. And the more that we do that, the more that spirit is going to be like, oh, she's listening. She's paying attention. Let's give her some more. I know that for me, once I started living this way, everything in my life got a whole lot easier. And I sure would like that for you. If you haven't already gotten my free Getting Started with Human Design and the reflection journal that goes with it, these are 2 ebooks that you can download here at sovereigntybydesign.com/ebook. And they will help you to be able to read the human design chart to know what all the different pieces are. And they will help you get started with your journey with human design. What I have heard from some of the feedback that I've gotten is that this is a really valuable ebook set. Even if you have had your chart for a while, even if you've watched a bunch of videos or read some books, it still can be really valuable to you. So I encourage you to go ahead and get it. Many blessings. Much love.